Remember when Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones hit theaters back in 2002? Say what you will about the prequels, whether you love them or hate them, there's many moments from that film which will be remembered, be it Anakin's review on sand,
I don't like sand,
or the chronic condition I developed, which was waving at automatic doors, and Jedi Fallen Order clearly has the same condition as I did. In short, Jedi Fallen Order is an action-adventure game with a unique blend of souls-lite and metroidvania elements with a Star Wars skin. You'll start out weak, and most likely die repeatedly until you gain more experience, literally and figuratively speaking. As the protagonist gets more skills, you can drastically reduce the number of times you die. Jedi Fallen Order was developed by Respawn Entertainment and released in 2019. Something to keep in mind, when I review a Star Wars game, I'm biased to like Star Wars video games. I've played nearly every Star Wars game on Steam, and I enjoy them all. I wouldn't necessarily recommend them all to everyone, but I've personally enjoyed playing them all. Welcome back to another Atratzu video. Strap yourselves in, set your blasters to stun, put on your Stormtrooper helmets, try to shoot at the like and subscribe button, but since we're all Stormtroopers in this metaphor, I know you're gonna miss. It's okay. Anyway, we're back to talk about another Star Wars game, baby!
Set your rhythm, Cal, but the boss wants a word. He'll be good for us. Here he is, Chief.
An error has been detected on line 10A. All our clamps are jammed.
You play as Cal Kestis, former Jedi Padawan. Jedi Fallen Order takes place 5 years after the Republic changes to the Empire and Order 66 is given, also known as the Jedi Purge. Naturally, the game needs to give the protagonist a push, so Cal is caught using the Force, and the Empire sends the Inquisition. For some people who are significantly behind Star Wars media, or never watched Star Wars Rebels like I hadn't a few years ago, the Inquisitors first came about from the Star Wars Rebels show. While it's not necessary to watch to appreciate the Inquisitors in Jedi Fallen Order, having experienced the media made me appreciate them all the more. The Inquisitors also show up in the Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I kept thinking that the second sister we see in Jedi Fallen Order is one of the sisters that shows up in Kenobi, but in Kenobi it's the third sister. Anyway, we're getting in the weeds again. It's one of the times that my extracurricular Star Wars consumption has paid off in a video review. Cal joins up with former Jedi Knight Seer and the pilot Grease, which make up the crew of the luxury yacht ship called the Stinger Mantis. Together they will travel to a couple familiar planets and a couple new planets in hopes of retrieving a Jedi holocron previously owned by Seer's former master, Cordova. The holocron has the names and locations of Force-sensitive children which Seer and Cal plan to find and train the new Jedi Order to help fight against the Empire. There's a fair bit of exploration in Jedi Fallen Order, but I suppose you could just drive straight towards the objective and ignore being sidetracked, but most of us will be distracted by lore objects to scan, collectibles to find, upgrades to be had, experience to be gained, and exploration to be plored. As I said in my review for the Star Wars MMORPG The Old Republic, I have a type of sniff test when we visit a planet from the films. Does the game make you feel like you're on that planet? And this game passes the test with flying colors. The whole way through, each planet was unique, and it just felt awesome to explore. As always, I don't want to spoil anything, so if you want as little detail as possible, skip this section and move on to gameplay. Okay, let me gush about when you first arrive on Kashyyyk. Dude, I am still obsessed over the whole section where Cal scales an all-terrain attack transport, which is walking in the water and covered in vines. I haven't played Shadow of the Colossus yet, but I think it's probably comparable. Then we hijack the AT-AT and get to move forward and backwards while aiming and blasting stormtroopers. Then suddenly Saw Gerrera, who is voiced by Forrest Whitaker by the way, hits the windshield like thump, and he's like, "Who are you?" This whole section could have been a cutscene, but instead I got to control it. It wasn't as detailed like old Star Wars flight simulators are, but I was having so much fun. My wife had to deal with my whooping with glee next to her while I played. And that's just one of my highlights. I was delighted by how cinematic Jedi Fallen Order is. Really just, I think Jedi Fallen Order was a delightful game for me to play, and it wasn't even that long of a playthrough. Next up, we have gameplay. Jedi Fallen Order takes some inspiration from souls-lite games, where you rest at meditation points to spend skill points. When you get your butt kicked by someone or falling off a cliff, you get your experience back by returning to that jerk to teach Amu's boss. This is the first souls-lite game I've played, unless you count Monster Hunter World or Rise, but most people don't. In case you aren't aware, the genre souls-like and souls-lite are just like regarding roguelikes and roguelites. It's games like or light Dark Souls. Dark Souls is known for its brutal, unforgiving difficulty, bonfires which act as save points and allow the player to rest and restore health, but respawn enemies. So Souls-like is more like Dark Souls, and Souls-lite has some of the qualities from Dark Souls, i.e. we have meditation points, gotta beat up the guy who killed you to get your experience back, and the game starts out very rough. However, you do get stronger as you play, so that's where it's Souls-lite, because I wasn't pulling out my hair swearing at the game. I felt like I was getting better and started to consistently beat new enemies and bosses. There's also inspiration from the metroidvania genre. While you play, Cal and his little buddy BD1 will get various upgrades and powers which will encourage you to backtrack to find secrets, upgrades, and cosmetics. I resisted the urge as much as I could, so when I returned to a world, I had lots of extra stuff to explore. To be honest with you, I wasn't sure if I was going to even be able to 100% the extra stuff here. I explored organically. If I saw a yellow bar, I knew there was a path in that direction on the map. If I saw a red icon, I knew, okay, can't go there until I get the required power or upgrade. It wasn't until we returned to the first planet called Bogano to open the vault where the holocron was that I realized you can see on your map how many secrets, chests, and your exploration percentage in the top left. And when you move around the map, in the bottom left, there's a more localized number of chests, exploration, and secrets if that area has any. I was holding out on maybe getting an upgrade towards the end of the game which would make finding secrets easier, like adding markers on the map or a radar tool or something, but after figuring that out, I had all I needed to go back and gather the rest of the collectibles after beating the game, which, after you finish the game, you can continue your game to finish collecting things, or play New Game Plus. I tried very hard to play with a keyboard and mouse because that's always been my preferred interface with video games. I can report to you those controls are functional, but it wasn't pleasant to play that way, particularly when it came to triggers and bumpers with their associated force powers. The configuration just makes more sense on a controller. At the start of the game, the basic controls are movement, running, camera movement, interacting with objects, jumping, blocking, attacking, force-powered strong attack, and dodge. As you progress through the game, Cal will get lots of upgrades and force powers. When I was first making this review, I completely forgot to mention the health and force bars. There's not much to the UI in Jedi Fallen Order. They've got a minimalistic approach, and I like it. In the bottom left of the screen, you can see your health. Next to your health is BD1's healing stim count. The smaller bar at the bottom center of the screen is Cal's force power. One of the neater parts of the game is that Cal feels weaker at the start of the game, and it matches narratively because Cal has withdrawn from the Force. As that connection strengthens, Cal will recover abilities he's learned while fighting in the Clone Wars alongside his master. When Cal remembers one of his old powers, there will be a playable tutorial where Cal's master will instruct him on how the technique is done.
Keep your eye on the ball.
One more thing about the gameplay is the slow process of learning how to survive combat in Jedi Fallen Order. You can block most attacks. You can also sidestep or double tap to dodge roll away from most attacks. Knowing when to use one and when to use the other changed my gaming experience from chaotic frenzy button mashing attacks and dodges like I'm playing Dragon Ball Z, Street Fighter, or Super Smash Bros. To a lean, mean killing machine who still dies because I'm bad at video games. Let's not kid ourselves here. There's a limit to how much punishment Cal can block before he just gets beat to a pulp. There's a block bar somewhere. I really didn't notice it because I'm not great. Actually, I tried to pay attention to the attack patterns and rhythms so I could block right before getting hit or shot. Critically timed blocks will deflect the fire back at the attacker and further decrease enemies' defensive bars. But when you see a red attack incoming, in the words of Piccolo,
Dodge! Dodge! Dodge!
one tap of the dodge button will make Cal backstep or sidestep if you have a directional input. If you time it right, you can get a critical dodge too. But if you double tap the dodge button, Cal takes a tactical roll. If you're like me and new or struggling with the gameplay, emphasize upgrades into health-related improvements, or slow down, go backtrack and pick up more collectibles for bonus experience points, and sometimes health and force power improvements. Okay, we gotta talk about New Game Plus really quickly, because generally when you hear, oh, this game has New Game Plus, it means you can replay the whole game with your existing upgrades. But since Jedi Fallen Order is so tightly woven between Cal's connection to the Force mechanically and narratively, you don't have all your Force powers when you play New Game Plus. I played my first game on medium difficulty because I wanted some challenge with the game, but I was truly there for the story and getting the extra stuff. I didn't want the game to go too easy on me either. I decided to kill two birds with one stone. Don't tell my bird Toby I said that to you. By playing the game on New Game Plus, on the hardest difficulty, I was able to first confirm that you only get to keep your cosmetics, and second, boy, I would have hated to start out on this difficulty. But after playing through the whole game on the in-between difficulty, I probably could play the game on this difficulty now. No promises on actually doing that, because I've got other games in my backlog to play, but the scale of difficulty seemed reasonable. I at least got past the first level and wanted to check that all my lightsaber customizations were still unlocked.
Breaking her will be big money. All right, let's go.
After finishing the game, you not only unlock New Game Plus, you also unlock in your regular game a new meditation choice, which lets you choose between a training mode called Battle Grid, or competing in meditation arena challenges. In 2020, these features were added, which adds a little bit more to the game to keep you playing if you want. Completing arena challenges will earn you stars, which can be used to unlock cosmetic changes for BD1. I mostly used the battle grid to mop up combat-related achievements, and then played a level or two of the challenge arena to see what all the hubbub was about. Even if there was an achievement for unlocking BD1 cosmetics, I would need to throw in the towel here. I don't have time for it. The challenges are very challenging, and a good option to squeeze out some more gameplay and to demonstrate your gamer prowess. But I don't have any gamer prowess. So I guess that's all I have to say about the meditation stuff added at the end of the game.
Help, please. Catch me now.
Speaking of cosmetics, there's a great deal of them, along with customization options in the game. Is it necessary? No. Can you ignore it? Yes. Did I? Of course not. I customize everything in every game, every time. It's a wonder I stopped writing notes in the metadata section in file properties. You collect plants for Grease's terrarium. You collect parts to customize Cal's lightsaber. There's a lot of workbenches to change up the appearance, and throughout the game, I noticed the game kept my lightsaber design choice. It was a nice touch. Speaking of design choices, Cal has 2 customizations of his own: the poncho skin and his base tunic layer. Our little buddy BD1 has different color skins, and lastly, the Mantis also has different color schemes you can select. All of these cosmetics show up in cutscenes. It's a small detail, but one I enjoyed.
My friend, take a look at the detail on this bark. The distinctive striations. It can only be a Rosia tree from Kashyyyk. It's time to call on an old friend. If the Zepho had contact with Kashyyyk, there is a good chance Chieftain Tarful will know about it.
I went into playing Jedi Fallen Order with the expectation and fear that I'd be really, really bad at it. I was. But I also got better as I played. And that's one of my favorite parts from this experience playing this game. I guess I'm ready for Dark Souls now, right? Right? Yeah, I don't think so. Jedi Fallen Order is great, but I'm pretty easy to please regarding Star Wars games, especially since I picked this game up on sale and played it so many years after its original release date. I felt like I connected with the crew of the Mantis quickly, related to the protagonist because of the difficulty and journey of getting more force powers and getting better at the game, loved how cinematic the game is in its storytelling and atmosphere. I don't know when I'll ever get around to buying and playing Jedi Survivor, but I can't wait for the next chance to rejoin this group of aptly named survivors in their next adventure. I think Star Wars fans would love the game. If it's too challenging, there's always the easier difficulty mode to experience the story. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I don't know how helpful my review would be for you. The takeaway might just be, oh, that Atratzu. It's sure cute how he gets all excited over Star Wars stuff. I think Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order would appeal to a wider audience than a lot of other Star Wars games we've covered on this channel. However, I hope I provided some information or entertainment. Let me know what you think of the game in the comments. Favorite non-spoiler moment of the game? Maybe something like, I really love the ending when you-know-who shows up. But anyway, that's it for me, and that's it for this video. Set blasters to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Trust only in the Force.